Hello, kids. It is me again, Freezing Inferno, Frezno, as you know me, and I'm joined by the ever-lovely, ever-wacky Blaze Fury.
Hello, I am Blaze Fury, back with more reviews that I've never really done much before of.
Well, we did one. We did Colin Baker, and now we're back again to do the other Baker, Tom Baker. Actually, what happened here was an interesting experiment. You see, every review I've done so far is from a story I've already seen, and I know quite a lot about it. The big hits of Doctor Who, Caves of Androzani, Remembrance of the Daleks. I wanted to do something that neither of us had seen. So I gave Blaze the list of all the Doctor Who classic episodes to ever exist, and he picked one that neither of us had seen, and he picked Underworld.
Not to be confused with the other Underworld with vampires or anything. No.
Yeah, I was about to say that I don't know if you thought of the Kate Beckinsale movie with vampires versus werewolves, but Underworld has nothing to do with that.
Indeed.
I don't know if it's good or not, but we'll let that sit for itself. So we're talking about Doctor Who. So I knew a couple of things about it just by looking at when it came on in the show. It's a 1978 story, early 1978, so I knew it would be Tom Baker with Leela, a tribal warrior lady.
I like to call her the young Xena warrior princess.
Okay, that fits, yeah. And even more surprising, K9 was in this episode.
I was surprised. I actually like K9. After seeing him from that one future Doctor Who one where they're dealing with, like, enhancing children's brains to crack the paradox. K9 was good there, and I like this K9.
School Reunion with Sarah Jane, the 10th Doctor episode. That introduced an entire generation to K9, and, well, K9 was pretty popular back in the 70s with the kids, too.
And I like K9. Loyal.
And he was good. He was good in this episode, too. So, Underworld, surprisingly, I looked up and read a couple things like Phil Sandifer's review. People don't really like Underworld. It's apparently voted the worst Tom Baker story, and I don't see it. I mean, it's not the best Tom Baker story in the world, but it was okay. What'd you think?
I thought it was okay for their video enhancing graphics and green screen and everything.
Oh yeah, we gotta get to that. We gotta get to that in a second, but part one of this episode, I've got to go over the plot a little bit, just because, well, this isn't a well-known one, so I'm just going to go through. The Doctor and Leela and K9, they find themselves outside this nebula, and they land on this spaceship piloted by the Minions.
Minions.
M-I-N-Y-A-S. Minions. They're aliens, but they look like people because this is Doctor Who, and all the aliens look like people.
They're wrapped in telephone cord wire.
Yeah, they got weird, crazy, silly space suits because it was the 70s. But they've been flying through space for 100,000 years, tracking another spaceship because it has their data banks on them to repopulate their species, right? So they want to find the species. You know what I mean?
Yes, and apparently they have sarcophagus.
Oh yeah, they regenerate themselves. They make themselves younger, but they don't. It's not like the Doctor where he changes his entire face. It's just them, but younger, because they've been flying through space for 100,000 years. So the Doctor and company land on the ship, and the ship is kind of busted down, and they're trying to fly into a damn nebula that's forming debris around. It's spacey stuff, you know, like a Big Bang sort of thing. All sorts of matter is creating a new planet inside, but they want to get in there because the ship is inside this nebula, and the first episode cliffhanger is the ship going in and little meteors going around the ship and forming around it. It's actually a really cool cliffhanger, I thought. What did you think of it?
I thought it was a good way to end off. They're being slowly buried alive by gravity itself.
Yeah, but then they rocket out and they land on the planet, and the main surface of the planet is actually kind of liquid. They're crashing, and you think, oh no, they're going to crash on the planet. But then they just splash in. It's really weird. But the center of the planet is a rock, and this is where the story gets really weird. Because before, it's mostly on a ship, and it's like, ooh, really weird. There's some really cool stuff about how the Doctor mentions that the Time Lords interacted with the minions like ages ago and made them think they were gods, and I said to you, the Time Lords violated the Prime Directive.
They have indeed. They interfered in the lifestyles of lesser beings.
Yeah, that's the entire reason that the Time Lords had a non-interference policy, which...
Because they messed up.
They kind of messed up, but... Well, I've never seen much Star Trek, so I don't know much about that. I don't know who did it first, Doctor Who or Star Trek, but they both have done it, apparently. But that's besides the point, because then they land on minions, and okay, here's where things get kind of dodgy regarding Underworld. For one thing, the story gets really weird, because it's like there's slaves underground, there's these weird guys in hoods, and I'm like, they got these weird they don't even have eyepieces, it's just dots. How the hell do these guards see?
That's what I like to know. What, are they like bats or whatever? They just keep talking and talking, and they know, oh, there's a wall, there's a wall.
I'm looking for the intruder. Ow! Bugger! I just hit a wall. Yeah. But, yeah, we should mention that most of this story, either it takes place inside a ship, or inside, like, the caves, an underground tunnel sort of thing. And from what I read, thanks to Phil Sandifer, they spent all their money on the ships, and they came back and they didn't have enough money to make the underground sets. So what they did was they built models of the underground sets, and then they filmed all the actors on blue screen. And then they just superimposed it over. Now, have you seen Star Wars Episode 3?
That was the Phantom
Menace?
Menace?
The last prequel movie, the one where... No, Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith, okay.
The one where Anakin becomes Darth Vader at the end.
Yes.
Okay, now, there's a lot of things you can say about that movie that are bad, right? But we're just going to talk about one thing that's kind of weird. Like, every shot in that movie is basically done with green screen, and they add the background in later, and you can tell, right? You can tell.
Big fighting over lava.
Yeah. Now imagine a show with a sliver of the money George Lucas has, trying to do exactly the same thing in 1978, when computer technology and blue screens aren't advanced. Basically, what I'm saying is Underworld looks fake as all hell.
Oh yeah. I mean, when he's at like the controls, like, if it can suck, it can blow. No, if it can blow, it can suck.
Yeah, that's a great line.
You can just tell from this. You can just tell that's a fake screen background, blue screen, green screen, and everything. I mean, just look at it. Look at it.
Yeah, not just that scene. Although that scene is funny because he actually does say that line. Hell, I'll put it in to prove it.
Whatever blows can be sucked.
Doctor Who.
It's
gone from suck to blow. Well then, I guess it can go from blow to suck.
Yeah, he does, because they're trying to smoke out the tunnels, the guards, so the Doctor reverses the polarity of the neutron flow over there. But yeah, not just that shot every shot of them in the tunnels looks fake as hell. Like, you can obviously tell it's blue screened. Oh my god. I mean, I know it's Doctor Who, and old Doctor Who never really had the best special effects in the world, but Jesus.
They shot themselves in the foot this time. Oh, no they didn't. That was just green screen. They never shot themselves.
Oh, it looks ridiculous. And then there's a part where they, go down this zero-gravity tunnel, and it's just them standing while their bodies just float down this tunnel as they're standing still. It's push. And happy music is playing. Meanwhile, they're juxtapositioning this with the guards attempting to sacrifice one of the guys. And it's just like, the sword will fall and he shall be sacrificed. And then, do. Ah, yes, I'm floating. It's rather lovely.
It's like in a movie where people are doing these awesome special effects and, like, there's guns and everything, while the main characters are, like, in the elevator going, like, do. This is good elevator music. Do.
It's incredible. Oh, God. Oh, and then some more stuff happens, and it turns out that the villain's actually a crazy computer who wants to keep the minions' databanks all to itself, and the actual minions have, like, robot heads for some reason? Do you understand what was up with that?
No, I don't think it, and it wasn't explained either. So I don't. So a hypothesis is necessary.
Like after 100,000 years, the actual minions evolved to have robot heads. What?
Less evolved,
no
more
sense.
like equipped. Basically, okay, chop off my head and then attach my brain to this machine head and reattach it, or something like that.
That's I don't know. I don't even know if it was like that. But the Doctor Who did a story like that. It was called The Brain of Morbius. It's basically like Frankenstein. It's a really good one. I should review it someday, but not today. We're talking about Underworld. The effects are interesting, to say the least. I mean, they've got some pretty cool laser guns, where it's just like a green light shining on a thing, and then it cuts to explosions. It's a yeah.
I believe they used
Well,
that same special effect in the old Star Trek movies with Captain Kirk and Spot with their phasers and everything.
Yeah, I've seen old Star Trek with Captain Kirk and Spock, the movies, and no,
not the movies, not the movies, the show.
Oh, the show. Okay, you said movies.
Sorry.
You mean the original series?
Yes, the original.
Maybe. I haven't seen old Star Trek.
I have.
That's not my thing. That's your thing. You're a real Trekkie.
I'm not that much of a Trekkie. I don't spend my life savings on Trekkies. Of course, I did have the Enterprise starship as a toy with a phaser. I will say nothing else. This is Doctor. This is not Star Trek, Doctor.
Yeah, we're Doctor
drifting
nerds here.
Yeah. Yes.
For God's sakes, I played Echo the Dolphin and Echo the Dolphin 2 to get a Colin Baker DVD set.
Was it worth it?
Yeah. I didn't have to play anything to get Underworld, though. I mean, I don't even know an Underworld. I just watched it on the internet. Ooh. But Underworld is okay. I mean, I don't really have too much else to say about it. Do you have much to say about it? Anything else you'd like to point out?
Not much in the Underworld. More like underwater, under chasms, under the sea floor. More like it.
What? What?
What? They hit the surface, which was made of liquid, but it's mostly all liquid, or so the Doctor says. It's still
they go
forming.
To the planet core.
But the core is solid. But one could say that it's not really a hollow planetary thing. It's more like they're just visiting Atlantis.
Well, they did visit Atlantis in a story called The Underwater Menace.
Yeah, there you go. They were underwater, and they were in someone's home. So there. It technically wasn't underworld, it was underwater.
Yeah, well, I guess it is sort of an underworld because it's like the planet's not all formed, so it's only a little bit with a weird liquidy center. I don't even know if planets work that way. I have no idea if science works that way, but anyway, it gets blown up at the end because of grenades. That's the stupidest goddamn thing. It's like, why do they have grenades that'll blow up the goddamn entire planet?
Let's make these in case someone comes for the original. That way we can blow them up.
Yeah.
And 100,000 years later, someone actually came.
Yeah, basically, they make it look like exactly like the databanks the minions want, and they give them to them, and they're like, we're going to blow them up.
That's some foreshadowing there.
But what if, like, the minions couldn't take off? Then they'd be stuck on the planet, and they would all die.
Yeah, it'd be like, Master, I'm sorry to say, but their ship engines are destroyed, so, yeah, we may want to help them so they don't blow us up.
And the robot in charge of the databanks, the ship computer, I guess, they put the grenades back. It's great because the Doctor brings them back. He gets the real things and takes the grenades back and finds the guard. And the guard's like, "Hey, give me those." And the Doctor's like, "Hey, don't take those. Those are the bombs." Yeah, right. You got to try better than that.
He didn't have to try. He was trying not to try.
He didn't have to try. He was telling the truth. But anyway, then the robot realizes, these are the grenades. Get rid of them. We can't. And the robot's like, oh well. And then it just lets them blow up.
Yeah, it's a computer. It's all sciencey and, yeah, it must compute. It computes.
Compute? Jesus. The Cybermen would get rid of a goddamn fission grenade.
Indeed.
And they're all logical. Jesus.
Yeah, I've seen a few shows in the past where machines kind of get all omnipotent, like, I am a god. No, you're not. You're just protons and electrons getting a hissy fit.
Well, yeah, okay. That was Underworld. It's okay. I mean, not every episode of Doctor Who can be a winner, and it's certainly not the worst Doctor Who ever made. But it's I don't know. Underworld, more like underwhelming.
That was a terrible, terrible pun, which suits well with this because this was kind of punny.
Yeah, a little. Anyway, I think that'll about wrap it up for Underworld. So next time, I don't know.
Leave it buried.
All right. Good night, kids.
Good night.